Good morning. Thank you, Erwin. I didn't even know that you found a picture of myself because I very rarely put pictures to the internet. Anyway, so in short time I try to come back to Austria again. Sarah is part of the team anyway. So by this, having Sarah on one side and sharing experiences from, let's say, another continent, but what we realize is also that there is quite a lot of similarity as well involved. I think this is really a great opportunity. So I try to press our new project in a nutshell. So we have, and I press a key. Oops, sorry. Should change the hands, not working with the left hand side. Okay. This was one too much. Okay, no. Okay, in a nutshell, what we are trying to run in the next 2 years is to extend the existing measuring system. The idea is, of course, to create longer time series, because in research, Erwin pointed out very nicely, it's about hedge that in the center is research, and we are in many times have very short contracts. So we are just not having enough data. Also, Walter showed very clearly how important it is to resample soil data. So I think what he has done, of course, investigating a lot in soil parameters, we try also to contribute now with more soil water status, soil water parameters. So we continue this campaign by extending our existing measuring system. There's just one example. We run this with the Bundesamt für Wasserwirtschaft. I think there's a proper translation. Is Alfred? Peter is here. What? Okay, thank you. And well, I don't know. He will continue probably on this. And one not related 100% to the hedges, what you would expect is side outcome is a so-called mobile field measurement system. So it's like a box, very mobile, to evaluate, as I say, soil water content, for instance, and soil water potential temperature, but you also above ground meteorological data. And now you see where we have the pointer. No, the pointer brauche ich. The pointer is da oben. Okay, below the solar panel there is quite a number of electronic. The classical one, you have buffer batteries, you have a data logger and all the connectors, the interfaces to the in the soil and above ground installed sensors. But now we try to improve it, have it more flexible, and one of the shortage always is to have, you need too much energy, so it's the low power consumption. So using these devices, as we say with the other data and the other, what was presented before, if we combine it, we would like also to establish the support of new hedges. Okay, just one already from existing data, just as an example, the metric potential in 2 locations. So one in Maleben, well, both locations we will visit, but one is a very developed already hedge and one is a new hedge. So in Absdorf we have the opportunity to collect the data during the establishment of the hedge. So it's just planted a couple of years. But what you can see, of course, you see very clearly the influence of the hedge on like water related parameters in 8 and 58 meters. Of course, there is, you could also say there's a damping effect and less fluctuation than in a distance away from the hedge, which of course it is no surprising. It's the windbreaking function, and it was explained by Eva already. So in Absdorf, you see there's also as well, the difference is not so pronounced because this is a rather new hedge. It's very, compared to the hedge in Maleban, it's yes, much smaller height. So this is the basic part of the monitoring the equipment, and then we continue also on the evaluation the competition of different plant species. Maybe not all of my friends who are cooperating from the Austrian Society of Root Research know or are aware of it, that what we are planning you will see on the next slide. So Wilfried is here at least. Then you can already take out your shovel or the needle. We do it with needles. And okay, then of course, because as you realize, and you will hear tomorrow about different other projects, it is important to combine forces. It's a common task to protect our soils and to improve our environment. So all this should at the end be brought together in more information. So and to a knowledge transfer also to help to promote more hedges. Erwin mentioned already at each of the field trips, excursions, and one farmer is willing to make a new hedge. Okay, so what we are planning, how we are doing it. So this is an example. So it's not from a real hedge. You see it's more with agroforestry, a combination, so that's why it's very different. So surprisingly, there is not so much influence of the near the row. You will see a little when you look closer on the corn. But you see, let's see the detail. You have from the tree a side root. Basically, you have a taproot system with strong side roots, and then we call it Senker roots, and a fibrous root system of corn. So the question is, of course, how is the competition about water? Are there any management options, just maybe even to force the trees or to grow more in the depths? There's even ideas that in the beginning, when they are young, cut the tree branches, the tree roots here, and not having so much competition. It's of course also a matter of the location. That's in a region in Styria. They have more rain than maybe we have in Machfeld. So each site has to be considered different. But anyway, in any case, this is what is planned next year. To see on Alfred Grant's farm next year to open a little bit the ground and try to evaluate the development of the plant species starting from the hedge to the field. Okay, so that of course a lot was said on ecosystem services. Eva mentioned especially the different for the plants, flora, fauna, and so on. So, of course, you are aware of the 4 types of services. Also, Sarah mentioned the food, fiber, also fuel. I think it's important in your case on the provision service, regulating service. That's climate, I highlighted. That's what we are investigating strongly to see the influence on the microclimate. Of course, that includes then natural hazard protection, also the floods, also erosions of floods is also Conrad. It's a special topic. Of course, also, I was surprised in that Sarah mentioned on the on the tourism activities also how hedges can provide. Of course, we know already the use of the hedges along, for instance, Machfeld Canal, and that becomes a very valuable recreation ground. And supporting service in the nutrient cycling, Walter showed a lot. Also, we can add a bit on the water cycling and soil formation and retention. All this, of course, lead to this ecological performance indicators. And the important is, of course, these indicators change over time, and our contribution should be mainly to see the parameters related to climate and to the water cycle. Okay, at the end of the day, and we like to come to the right-hand side, to the having a balanced ecosystem. So while you have extremes here, like a natural one where crop production plays no role, the other extreme is an intensive cropland, and all the other functions are kind of minimized or nearly not existing. So if you bring these two together, you can do a cropland with restored ecosystems. And of course, restored ecosystems, since these hedges are built, I mean, if the countryside would not have been cleared out in the past, but that's a fact. So we bring back what we have taken away to some extent. And I think this is a part we are all interested in. We are working together. For this, I will close, and I hope we are really able to contribute a lot to from creating and so functioning ecosystems in the future again. Okay, thank you for the attention, and thanks also to the Landschaftsfonds for the continuous support of supporting the introduction of hedges. Thank you.